Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Let's start. I don't know how many were joining, but I think Radhika is new. So let me just give a quick, brief introduction, what this project and what made us do something like this. And let's go into that. So us diaspora, when we go back to Sri Lanka, to North, there isn't a decent private hospital that is clean and has all the facilities in case you fall ill. Obviously, we don't feel like going into the general hospital. So there is Northern and one or two others, but they don't cater to all the facilities. So we've identified a need there. Then we looked at it more to see there is no cardiology unit in a private hospital. You can do it in Jaffna General Hospital, but apparently their waiting list is something like 3,000 people. So people are traveling to Colombo, to Lanka Hospital. The surgery is like 25 lakhs. Then they have to rent an apartment next to it for 2 to 3 lakhs to stay there for 4 weeks or 5 weeks for post-surgery care. And not many people are comfortable, even if they have time, money, leaving the family and going to Colombo for a private important surgery like that. So we identified a niche market there, which is cardiology unit. So obviously the mastermind behind this is our Dr. Puvi is the one. He has done so many different charities.
Mastermind, yeah. So I don't do that. Yeah, it's not just for the diaspora to go and get the healthcare. It's one health tourism. It's one thing we can generate money, but for the local people,
correct,
there's not a good quality healthcare system in the private sector. Now the government has introduced this insurance as well, but even though it's a small sum. So there is only one place is a Northern Hospital. There is no competition or something like that to regulate the system there, the private sector. So that's kind of things. And when these diaspora health professionals goes to help in the healthcare sector, it is difficult to work in the government hospital system because we shouldn't interfere in there. If it's a separate entity, the diaspora can help to improve the healthcare system in the north, at least. Yeah. So there are various reasons for these projects. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry to disturb.
No worries. So it'll cater to diaspora as well as to the locals. Locals, even if they have money, there isn't a decent place to go. So we were looking to build a hospital with a cardiology unit. But we have lots of expertise, medical professionals in various different fields. We have millionaire entrepreneurs. We have lots of expertise, but none of us have built a hospital. So when we were looking to see somebody who can steer us and tell us how to progress and guide us from this, we were lucky to meet Rukshan Widyalankara, who is a highly experienced architect with many years of expertise in designing numerous hospitals, combining functionalities, sustainability, and patient-centered designs, hospitals, not only in Sri Lanka, but overseas too. But the interesting part is he's right now in Europe doing an interesting tour. He's joining us from Zurich. So I'm going to hand over to Rukshan to give an introduction of the projects that he has done and give a brief intro about him, and also give us some interesting news about his visit in Europe. Over to you, Rukshan.
Okay, thank you, and good evening, everybody. I have some slides to share. I think you need to make me
a co-host to share. Okay.
Co-host, I should be able to share these. Okay. Just to get an idea of this team that we are talking to, are you all doctors?
Mixed
profession,
We have
health-
entrepreneurs, doctors. Radhika is she's in the construction fields. We have mixed professionals.
Okay. Right. Can you see this slide?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, okay. So just to give you an idea about what my company does, my company goes as RWPL, that's under my name. We have been in practice from 1993. So it's almost about 33 years, 32, 33 years now. Based in Colombo, our office is at Kirlapana. We have a staff of about 30 people. We do all types of projects and also, but we do so many hospitals. Then that is private hospital, not government hospitals. We had done only about 1 or 2 government hospitals, but private hospitals we have done about over 30. I think I have shared those lists also with Geetha. Anyway, just to I am here in Zurich at the moment. I was first in Vienna. Now I am in Zurich. I will be going back to Sri Lanka tomorrow. This is to work on robotic assisted surgery, what we call the RAS, in 2 of our hospital projects that we are doing. I'm here with my daughter and my son-in-law. They are both doctors working in Sweden. And they also joined me on this tour to see these places. So let me also show you some of the slides. I hope you can hear me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, to give you an idea about the projects that we have done, I have some few slides of maybe the key projects. So this is the King's Hospital, which was earlier called the Oasis Hospital. I think you must be, you must be knowing this is on the Kirimanla Road at the Narayanpeta. Oasis was earlier a very rundown sort of hospital, and as you are actually doing the fever for your doctors, 40 odd very well established consultants got together and pooled money and bought that hospital. They are all doctors, right? And I mean, they are all some leading professionals. I think you have heard of this.
Yes.
Yes.
They bought this about a few years ago, and then we renovated it. We removed everything to the to the beam. Only the structure was available. So this is what we did. Now it is functioning quite well. Financially, they had an issue earlier because as doctors, they were not very, sort of good in management. But now some insurance company also has stepped in, and so it is being that it's managed well and they are functioning very well. So the top is what you see, and the slides at the bottom are the interiors. So this is the main reception, theaters, and so on. So these are the main reception areas. If you have any questions, just stop me anytime.
How many rooms there are, Rukshan?
They have, see, the hospitals go by the number of beds, number
Yeah.
of syllable beds. They have 140 odd syllable beds. Okay.
Okay.
And this is that one on top is the the Lanka hospitals. Well, it was known as Apollo. So there we did many projects. Actually, the original Apollo was not designed by us, but we did a lot of refurbishments. So this is the international patients wing that you see here. The reception, there are altogether about this was finished about 2 years ago. This is their main wing, which they house international patients mainly coming from Maldives. So I think you also mentioned about hospital tourism. So this is where they attract not only the patient rooms, you can see the corridors, and these are the patient rooms. There are other areas like lounges and so on. This last slide you would have, maybe you can see this last slide. 1 second. This particular one is the lounge.
Yeah.
Then many years ago, we had done this Golden Key Eye and ENT hospital. Just before the Golden Key collapsed. This is in Rajagiri. It's INT, ENT focused hospital. At the bottom you see, there was this MDK hospital which was in Horana. That is also the the it was a factory they converted. These are small satellite hospitals that we did. That was about 2011 and 2000, and it took about 5-6 years for the person to do it. Then we have done these HEMAS hospitals, both the hospitals. One is in one is in Vattala. You can see on top the Vattala hospital that was built in 2006, going up to 2008. And we did another phase of it in 2015. That is also almost same as the King's Hospital, about 130 beds. One below that is the Morrison's oral and solids liquid facility. The Morrison's is the largest pharmaceutical company in Sri Lanka, and they did this facility which has a lot of clean rooms and so on. So I'm just only bringing here only the healthcare projects that we did. The bottom is the MediHelp hospital. I don't know whether you have seen it. MediHelp is a series of small satellite hospitals in different towns. So we have done 5 of them: Horana, Piliandala, Bandaragama, then also Moratuwa and one other places.
Dehiwala also there is one, right?
Dehiwala also there is one, yeah. So these are actually not very big hospitals. They are small hospitals, little bigger than a medical center. One on top is actually, this is on the ward place. Ward place Colombo 7. It is a specialist cardiac neuro referral center. It's not a hospital per se, but it's a referral center where very high-end cardiac and neuro-related surgeries will be carried out and so on. So one of my reasons to come on this project, this particular visit, is also that particular project where we are going in for robotic surgeries. One below is the HEMAS Hospital, Thalawathugoda. It was a 78 bedded hospital. Now we are adding another wing to it, which is one of our largest projects. I'll show you as we go on. Then also at the bottom is actually a cosmetic surgery unit at the it's a surgical facility at One Gore Face. I think you must be knowing One Gore Face. That is that
Yes.
Shangri-La building. One Gore Face is about 6,000 square feet here. And I will show you some pictures later on. So this is one of our flagship projects. It's called Los Angeles Medical Center Hospital at the Hivala. So this is under construction now. It has 17 floors. All 17 floors completed the structure. I'm sorry. Now the finishing and the fenestration, the curtain wall is being done. I think if you are aware of the Hivala, this is in front of the Hivala Mount Lavinia municipality. There was earlier a place called the Hivala Medical Center. It was done by Dr. Walter Jayasinger. Those of you who are in the US might know. He's in the Los Angeles. So the Hivala Medical Center is now that's the land. So we have demolished that. Now this construction is on. Actually, the construction is over now. So this has a very large building. It's a very tight site. And on top, there's a helipad as well. He's also thinking of, there are many ships plying in that area, some 35,000 ships, and there is a need for medical facilities for the staff, for the sailors. So he's trying to get this thing also in. So this is actually, I told you about the HEMAS hospital at Thalawathugoda. The one in front, what you see here, is the existing building. So one at the back, this tall tower is the new proposal that we are doing. This actually is not construction. It is on approval stage now. And parts of it has been done because we have submitted for approval and we are waiting approval to start the piling work. But because this building is coming up, some changes has happened to the existing building. So that is happening now. So even in this project, we will be doing the robotic kind of surgery that we are hoping to do. So these are some of the projects that we did, and then here you can see we I think I have seen a lot of hospitals in the UK as well. In Sri Lanka, I think we are going places now, because if you look at King's Hospital and few other hospitals, it is not a hospital anymore. Even Lanka Hospital, it's almost like a I would say a hotel. So these are interior of the patient rooms, with a large view of the outside area. And if you would look at this one here, this is the, now usually you have the bedded panel with all the pipe medical gases and the plug points, the socket outlets and so on. So that is not done now. We are not doing it. Even Hemas Hospital, when we did, we kind of did away with that. So it is like, so you have the backdrop here, pipe medical gases and so on are here. That's on both the sides. So pipe medical gases, the socket outlets, the data outlets, the nurse call, everything is now is hidden in these sections here. These are the main entrance door. These are the toilet door. So this is also, this is one of the executive called international patients wing. So there are these waiting areas that we do for patients, but there is also waiting areas for VIP like waiting areas. So this is one of the slides. So here you can see this particular slide is that one goal phase. It is also a cosmetic sort of unit, but we have a very high-end the operating theater which we did. It's on your right. I have one or two slides. Let me show it to you. So this has what we call the RGB lights, the red, green, and blue lights, where the surgeon can change it anytime he likes. So then you get the X-ray panel. What you see here is the pass box, because this is the walls are made out of, it's a thick wall made out of with some lead lining, so you can do an X-ray with a C-arm, and all these are with lead line. And if I take this video back a little bit, you can see this wall is made out of, sorry, wall you can see it's like a glass, so it's with a sort of picture in it. So these are things that we do now. Now these are what is called the modular theater, but we are not using the standard modular theater. We are not buying a modular theater from overseas. We are making one in Sri Lanka. So this is a better than a modular theater because it is cheaper, as well as it is done to our specifications. You can see this is a glass here on this wall. It's a glass. Behind that is a lead lining, so that you can do your X-rays here. And the light can be changed the way doctor wants, because that was, and this door is also a specific door. So here you can see, the support outlets are coming here as well as in the pendant, the X-ray reader. And this one, I will explain to you later, is what is called the integration panel. Now the integration panel integrates so many things. It's a medical grade panel. It integrates video conferencing. It integrates giving all the necessary information to the doctor. PACS is the patient archived communication system where the data is stored. He can bring all the data here, and generally we have two of those large screens in the operating theater. So this is one second. Now this is what is called the DTU, the day treatment unit. Now in your in the hospital, in your business plan, I don't know how you structure it, but there's a very high need of bringing doing day surgeries. Now day surgeries mean patient comes in the morning, he goes out in by evening. He does not stay. So it is cheaper for him as well as cheaper for the hospital also. So these are like recline chairs. in one of the hospitals we did. I think you know. I don't have to explain much. I think you know what it is. Once again, the same slide. So the corridors of the patient room areas and so on we design things like this. The ceilings, we do a ceiling of this nature in certain places, in the MRIs and so on, in the radiology, because wherever the patient is in a hospital, you will see the patient is looking always upwards on the ceiling. So the ceiling design is one of the key things that that has to be considered in a hospital. Now, when we walk in, we see horizontally, whereas he sees vertically. So in places like the MRIs and in the main radiology, there's so much of trauma these patients has because he doesn't know what is going to happen and so on. So we try to bring in some life to these area. See some of the OTs we did. You see, now we have done many of these. The laminar flow, the lights, the pendants. These are called the multimodal pendants. Some are fixed pendants, some are multimodal pendant. The bed, the patient, this table, and so on. Now, when it comes to what we have learned on the robotic surgeries, the tables and all that are different. So that will be a different one. So I think some of you would have been used to this. Now we are getting daylight coming into the main theater because that gives a lot of life as well as it is a pleasant environment for the staff, because not only the staff, not only the patient, you have to consider the staff as well, because some of these surgeries take 6-7 hours. Some we would have seen. Some doctors don't like, but then those who don't like it can just cover it with with some louvers and so on, which is happening outside. So this is also this.
Rukshan,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt, but don't you have I thought it is for hygienic and sanitary reasons. It got to be air conditioned, no?
Yes, it is air conditioned. But I'm saying is you can bring daylight into it.
Okay, right.
You can have large windows and bring daylight into it, so you see the outside.
Right.
The air you can't have in a private hospital. You don't allow the windows to be open because then you will have problems with contamination.
Yes.
So entire hospital is sealed. Particularly in the theater, it has to be sealed. You can't open it. So this is the area. Here if you see, this is what is called the laminar flow. Laminar flow gives air, what is called the unidirectional air. Now it comes like this, and it is taken out at the at the bottom level. There you can see here. You can see here these are outlets.
Right.
So it's uniflow. So it washes the patient only once. It doesn't circulate like this. It doesn't go like that, right? Is it clear, Geetha?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So there are so many technical things here, like for instance, these doors are what is called the hermetically sealed doors, because theater has to be under positive pressure. If it is negative pressure, outside they can come in, but theater under positive pressure means these doors will have to seal properly. So these are also what I told another video. I think I will show it to you. So you can see this door is also a hermetically sealed door. Now these doors are bought. We don't manufacture, but everything else is made in Sri Lanka. Even these cupboards, we didn't buy anywhere. We got it manufactured here out of stainless steel. So it is cheaper as well as and we can do it to the specification we want. You see the whole cupboard, it's a large cupboard. If you buy this, now there are different places it's coming in. It's coming mainly in Europe. There are very good companies, but of course the price is also at that level. And some are coming from China, but Chinese ones are not as good as this. But if you look at the cupboard, it's a very small cupboard there. But here we can do a large one the way you read.
Yeah, it's quite, we can see Sri Lankan technology has improved quite a lot.
No, it's improving a lot. Yeah, it's improving a lot. See, this is also another view of these theaters. So you can see this is a glass. You can see the reflection here. You know, the glass goes and there are no edges here. It's curved or slanted. I don't have to show that. Now, again, to show you about this, my visit, one of the purposes, and also this thing I mentioned to you about this panel here, or the integration panel. Now, this is what happens here. This is just a diagram to explain to you. This is where the surgery takes place. And there are videos that could be transmitted to various different locations. Now, the locations can be within the hospital. It can be outside the hospital also. Now, so this is the system that we adopt. It comes into the main hub within the hospital. So it can be a surgeon, it can be a surgery office, it can be, you know, some seminar rooms and so on. But at the same time, it can be uplinked to the satellite, and at different other venues, it can be seen. Now, we try to do this at the College of Surgeons in Colombo, but that didn't materialize, where they do a lot of training programs and so on. And it is archived at a later stage. Now, this is, this is not just a uplink that you can do like you're watching Netflix and so on. All these will have to be real time. Now, this is where also one of the things that I think you mentioned earlier, Dr. Puvi, you see, one of the benefits in doing a Jaffna is that there's a lot of diaspora who can afford, and their parents are here in Colombo. Some of the surgeries they could control or they could view from overseas, and an overseas doctor can also comment on it. And it is done real time. It is not just like a Zoom call. It doesn't happen on Zoom. So the uplinking facility has to happen real time. You can't have buffering. So there's a big engineering thing involved in that. So anyway, I'll just skip that. So these are the these panels. So that the doctor, say in UK or in the USA, can discuss about the surgery once the surgery is open. So he can also draw like what I'm drawing now. I'm drawing on Zoom now, right? In this system, also they can draw and show, and they can scale it. So they know what the distance is and so on. That also can be from overseas that can happen. So I think you would have got the idea. Also, now this is one aspect that we are trying to pursue. Second one is the robotic surgery. Now this is we saw several robotic surgery centers here. It is very interesting, and here I think Switzerland is one of the most number of robotic units are here in the Switzerland. Most of them are manufactured in the USA. Some products have not still got the approval in the USA, called Medtronic and so on, but Da Vinci is approved, and Switzerland has the largest number of Da Vinci units. So that is one of the reasons why we came here. I think you would have seen this, but anyway, just for some of you who have not seen, I will just share this. This is not exact hospital. This is a demo version of it. So you can see this from Medtronic. It's called Hugo. So here you can see the doctor can be elsewhere in a different room. All what he has to have is that console unit, right? You need to have the console unit to operate. So there can be 1 unit, 2 unit, depending on the surgery. So this is the console unit here.
There is a surgeon 1 year junior to me, was studied at the Jaffna University. He's colorectal robotic surgeon. He has done more than 500 now in UK robotics.
Okay. So he actually here what happens is most of these are urology related surgeries, and they are also doing colon surgeries and cardiothoracic surgeries also. But things like the transplant and so on, they are not doing, because in Sri Lanka, one of the things is that we are doing this the kidney transplant. For transplant, this is not done because this is a you have to anyway make the body open. So these are some of the these the theaters that we do for that we have to do for the robotic surgery. It has to be large. It has to be large, and there are different cabling systems and so on that will be coming.
So only the surgeries that could be done through keyholes can be robotic at the moment, is that right?
Robotic, yes, yes.
But they're doing bypass as well, right? I've heard.
I don't know. Maybe they're doing, but bypass you need to. That's what is called from the side they open. So I'm not very sure of that how that happens.
Yeah, I have seen one patient of mine came keyhole surgery, is a bypass.
I saw on Instagram, they said the recovery is quick because there is no cut open and speedy recovery, and it's supposed to be great success, they said.
Now, this is, this unit is about one unit of the, now there are three here. One unit is about 2 million euros. And it is fast, the things are changing. I mean, the one unit comes in now, then after a few years, the new versions come in, the movement is different in some other places. You should be able to move it in different ways. This is improving, like in leaps and bounds. Now, I don't know in your case whether you will go in for this thing, but I think it's a little too early that maybe you can. I'm just showing it to you since Geetha asked me.
Yeah, thank you. That was really good.
Okay, this is actually, can we go to this also, Geetha? Is there anything else you want to?
Yeah, just to give them a brief idea, like, okay, so we were considering to build a 100-room hospital with each room to have an attached bathroom and the facilities. So we asked Rukshan what the phase one got to have, what is necessary and also what is recommended to have. Yeah, Rukshan, go.
Yeah, now, see, I need a proper brief from you as to what you plan to do. Now, this is just an idea only I gave because since Geetha asked, so this may be wrong, this may be right, but I think you need to work some things out, certain things, and give it to me. So this is on the basis if you were to do 100 beds, since you were talking about you want to phase it out. So I have phase one and phase two. So it is little too early at this stage, I think, to discuss this because you need to give me a heads up on that. Now, what happens is this: when you say phase one, general infrastructure has to come in there. Whether you are going to for the phase two also, the phase two will be a smaller component only. Because if you look at the generators, it has to come in the phase one. Things like the transformers has to come in the phase one. Pipe medical gas console has to come in phase one. You can't do your mortuary has to come in phase one, right? So that the cost there is going to be high. Now, I'll just explain this to you. So I thought if you were to do consultation rooms, channeling rooms, if you were to do 15, for instance, so you do 7 in first and 8 in 2. Operating theaters, I think Geetha was talking about 2 now, 2 later. But you see what happens is when you do operating theaters, you go to build all 4, and maybe you need not equip the 2, right? So you keep the area blank, and you equip only the first 2 operating theaters. Then the DTU is the day treatment unit. Maybe you decide to do certain kind of surgery like cataract and so on. Then you can have the DTU. CSSD is a must now. CSSD is the Central Sterilized Services Department. That is, you with autoclave and so on, you need to clean your equipment, instruments and so on. Radiology, MRI, CT, what you decide to do, I said 75% here and maybe 25% later. Cardiology, it all depends on what you are going to do, whether you are going to have a cath lab. But you need another theater there, maybe 2 theaters, and also a CT ICU, cardiothoracic ICU, and so on, with a full facility there with a chest pain unit, angio suite, and so on. The reception, lobby, cafe, those are standard. ICU, maybe you need 6 bed. If you're looking at 2 theaters, you need at least 6 bed minimum. Patient rooms, if you were to do 25, then maybe 75 can be added, but you can decide to make it 50-50 even. HDU is a high dependence unit. This is a step down version of the ICU. It is in the ward itself. Now, the other thing that you have to decide is, are you also thinking of doing a ward as against a patient room? Now, my experience with some of the hospitals, their experience is the wards are not sellable. Or these twin rooms where 2 beds are given in one room with the sharing toilet, they are not sellable. There are not many people want to take them. They're all individual, because if you look at the pricing, there's only a marginal difference between the two. Only so they would prefer to pay another maybe 2,000-3,000 more and get a individual room where it's the kith and kin also can come and talk to them and wait with them. Emergency treatment unit with the resuscitation beds and all that, they also you need to have a small theater. First 3, maybe later on you can add 5. Then you have the normal standard infrastructure like the solid waste chamber. There are garbage chambers, kitchen, phlebotomy laboratory. Now, mainly you will see the theaters. Sorry. 1 second. The theaters here and the pharmacy and the lab. Now, these are like the, what shall I say, maybe the cardiology also, if you are going to do that. These are profit centers. Everything else is subservient to that. They are only supporting them. So if you have the OTs, you need to have patient rooms. You can't do it without patient rooms, right? Then, like for instance, now the consultation rooms is not a profit center. Consultation room, actually, you are losing, because our system here is we don't have it's doctor centered. Doctor charges so much. Only a minor amount goes to the hospital. A major part goes to the doctor. Doctor takes it away. And with that small amount, you need to do the building, you need to do the parking, you need to air condition it, you need to have staff, you need to do all those things. So it's not a profit center. But anyway, once the consultation is done, they will feed the patient to the OTs and the rooms and so on. So that is how it works. So even the rooms is not a profit center. So rooms you are losing. If you keep a patient for anything more than 2 days, you are losing. So best scenario is to try to get the patient out after two days. So maybe a rehab unit or something like that you could do. Those are things that I don't have to sort of explain to you. I think you know what it is. These 2 I think was there in the Geetha's note. Depends on what you are planning to do. So the staff room, support spaces, dirty cleaning rooms, stores, corridors, staircases, those are standard that you got to do. I have added the CSSD here again. That is the same CSSD, kitchen, PMG manifold. These are the pipe medical gases, the PMG manifold room, and the mortuary. So you need to at least to have a small mortuary because our situation system is that it takes at least half a day to take the body out. So if you do that, initially there will be about 8,500 square meters. I don't know whether you asked to square meters or square feet. This is about 95,000 square feet. And the phase 2, you're adding about another 3,300 square meter. That's about 40,000 square feet. And in order to get an idea about the cost, except the land, I have worked out because most of you are in the UK. It might cost about this amount. Now, I must explain to you that, now I'm only a consultant here. Once you give your requirement, we do the design and we tender for it. We get the approval, all that, then we tender for it. Then the contract only will give the price. So at that time only you can negotiate with the contractor. The price is high, you bring it down and so on. But this is for you to get an idea as to how much these things will cost. Now, you see the hospitals are quite high in price because a lot of services coming there. Air conditioning has to be good. There are pipe medical gases. There are firefighting. There are HEPA filters, laminar flows. All those things come in. So as a result, per square foot rate is quite high. You can't compare that with the apartment or office or something like that. Are there any questions, Geetha, on this?
Yeah, so, but I thought like you mentioned consultation rooms are important because that's what brings in the revenue, brings in the patients, right? If you have less consulting rooms.
Yeah, no, the consultation, I think initially you mentioned 2 consultants, that is not enough. So
Yeah.
more consultation rooms you need. So we have planned here for 15 here. I mean, I just put in 15, but if you want more, we can have more. It all depends on how you plan to do it, because if the same doctor who works in the general hospital comes there, so after 4:30 only this activity starts. The parking issues, everything happens after 4:30. In the mornings, you don't get much happening there, right? In the morning only, you will have some doctors in the hospital who will look into the ETUs and so on. So there will be OPD, but the consultants comes only in the evening. So it's a matter of sort of getting them to admit the same patient to the same hospital. Now, if the consultant looks at the patients and says that okay, you get admitted to some other hospital, then the whole idea is lost, right? So your marketing team will have to work on that to see how best that you will woo the consultant. So it all depends on now things like the lab and so on. The equipment, even in the radiology, if you the best equipment you bring in, that will attract the consultants to admit the patients to this hospital. So if there is a old units and so on, now that's what is happening in the central. That is, I think, it's a very old MRI machine. So doctors are not very happy with that. So there are so many things in that. So, but what I'm saying is, these consultation rooms is not a profit center, but you need to have it to as that will attract that that will bring in patients into here.
Yeah.
This is for the cost for the building mainly. Do you have any rough estimate for radiology unit like MRI, CTs, rough estimate?
Not really, but I know MRI is roughly around 100 million in Sri Lankan rupees. CT may be a little less, but anyway, it depends on how many Teslas that you plan to do. See, there is one hospital in Pune now. Now this thing goes at 215, 215, 512. 512 is the latest one that Navalok Hospital has. But in the hospital in Pune has one which is 1132. Which means it turns at the speed of light, right? So I don't know whether that is a useful thing or not. The doctors will have to advise that. So that is about, we actually took an estimate. We took a pricing for our other hospital. It's about 1.7 million US dollars for that. So that is, I mean, you're talking about 500, 600 billion rupees. But the normal Tesla machine and so on is not very expensive. It's about 100 million, 125 million. But those can be, I mean, there are many suppliers here who are representing key brands. So that you can get it, and since you are all in the field, that you will know which is how you can do that. But my expertise is I don't go into the equipment. I don't recommend the equipment or suggest any equipment. That's a different field. What I don't know, I don't do. Only the building and the infrastructure I do.
Yeah, I'm sure people will have questions for you, Rukshan, but before we go into that, and then we might get carried away. Okay, so we have kind of a basic idea of how much the building would cost. Now we are looking for a land. Once we find the land, what is the, if you could guide me through the steps, what's going to be the process, next steps?
Yeah, actually now, first and foremost, if you have the land, then it makes things very much easier.
Yeah.
But if you don't have the land, if you want to look for a land, you can certainly look for a land. But I think the next step has to be, you need to finalize your business model. That is this. How many patient rooms are you thinking? How many OTs? How many this? How many that? How do you plan to do this? What is your overall cost of this? Right? You have to have an idea about that first, and then you got to find land that suits you. Because now, if you your idea is to have a large land, and if you get a large hospital, and if you get a 1 acre land, may not be enough, right? But if you can finalize this, I think this sheet is with you, Geetha. If you can finalize the brief, what is called your brief, client's brief, then you can look for a land. That's a better way of doing, right? And then you know how much where you are heading, how you can face it out if you would have to face it out. Otherwise, you do the whole thing in one go. So once you do that, we prepare this, sort of finalize the brief. Now, your brief is called the client's brief, which we take it and we convert it into an architect's brief. We put the technical matters and so on, because you don't not put in things like circulation, services, and so on, that we will bring it to the table. Then you have an idea about this thing. Then you go for a land. Once you have the land, we need to get what is called the preliminary planning clearance for the land from the UDA, because not all land they allow hospitals to be done. We just apply for the preliminary planning clearance. It's not a long process. Then once we get the clearance, then we go for the design. First the schematic design. Then it has to be shown to you. You will discuss. Maybe you will appoint 1 or 2 people in the committee. They will discuss. They will come in. They will keep on changing it. So once you agree on a thing, we get a sign-off drawing. Then we go to the detailed design, and we do the BOQ, right? And the BOQ is done based on the final design, and which we use for tender. We go for tender. In the meantime, the proper approval also we will have to take from the UDA, that is called the planning approval. So the planning approval for a hospital is very, very complicated. There are environmental issues, there are fire issues, there are 17 different approvals we have to take. So now there's a system that the UDA has fast-tracked it, but not as 100%. But anyway, it is some solace. So once we tender, we get quotes from, say, 3 reputed or 4 reputed contractors who could do this kind of project, and we do an evaluation. So they are quoting on the same basis. You are not giving a drawing for them to give you a quote. We have done the drawing. We are giving a BOQ. So once you put it into an Excel sheet, you can compare and contrast where someone has gone high, someone has gone low. They're all quoting on the same basis. So we do an evaluation of the tenders received, and we will send you a evaluation report. Based on that, you have to select a contractor. And once the contractor is selected, he starts the work. After that, immediately you pay his advances and so on. He gives bonds to you. The system is the same as in the UK. So he will give bonds, performance bond, bank guarantees, and so on. Then he will start the project. Then we manage the project with them. And in between, also there are other tenders that will come in, like air conditioning, electrical, ceilings. We separate them for generators, lifts, and so on. They will go as nominated subcontractors. So once that is done, construction finishes on a particular day, then you commission it and start operating. In the meantime, of course, I don't have to tell you, you go to do the recruitment, the training and recruitment of staff.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah. It was very well answered, very detailed. Thank you. But you mentioned at our initial discussion that some people went to build a hospital. They had everything, however, they didn't get the land and they didn't do it. So did they do a feasibility study? Did they, now, okay, that's question number one. And question number two is to do this building model, business model, should we do a feasibility study, or do we, like some of the experts, get together and decide what should have, or is it worth doing a feasibility study?
Yeah, feasibility in the sense you are going to financial feasibility or any other feasibility?
Business model feasibility, then we had to do an enterprise risk. There will be few different feasibilities we'll have to do, right, at different stages.
Yeah, I think it's worthwhile doing that because you know, at the end of the day, it's a business venture that you are going into.
Correct.
If you don't get your proper IRR and proper payback, then you're going to lose, right? So there's no point in doing all this and at the end, you know, sort of having problems where you will not be able to manage. That is one of the issues in some of the hospitals that some of the doctors got together and did it. They were not quite business savvy. So it makes sense to do a business feasibility, the financial feasibility, and maybe you know, sort of to get some idea about the market survey if possible. But I think since you are all have your roots here, you know what is required here, what is not, better than even anyone. So yeah, so business feasibility is important, but before that, I think the brief has to be done. You need to do this brief. That is point number one. I think you need to get together and prepare this brief as to what is the total project. Are we going to phase it out? If so, how we are going to phase it out? That is the key. The next step should be that.
The phase one is the basic infrastructure for the hospital, correct?
Depends, yeah. No, it's like this. You can do some of the facilities in that. You can decide what you want, some of the facilities, but the infrastructure, whether you like it or not, you have to do for the whole hospital. You see, if
Yeah, that depends on the size of the hospital, correct?
yes. Say if you are getting generators, you need to get the generators for the entire hospital. You can't have generator.
So you need to establish the scope of the hospital first. Start with phase one.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Scope of the hospital. Yes. I mean, I can help you on that. I can help you on that.
That is why we want to know exactly what's the scope here. That's what she's trying to get it out, actually.
So this is a good blueprint. I think I have captured here almost all the items. I mean, if you look at the proper brief, goes up to about 4 or 5 pages. But you have to get the service. And now you said you're going to concentrate on cardiology.
It will be a general hospital, definitely, but a specialized unit for cardiology. But it has to cater to whatever you say. You had an emergency, gallbladder, hernia, whatever. Like, it has to be catered to a general hospital, I would imagine. Even a cesarean maternity as well. I mean, the doctors have to decide on that, but I would imagine so.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
So when you design a hospital based on these details, do you go for profit centers to check the profit centers to make the revenue for the hospital? You just check the revenues.
Yeah, actually, this is done by the financial person who is doing the financial feasibility. I don't do financial feasibility. I give the details to him. It is done by accountant for that matter, who has information about healthcare thing. I can introduce you to somebody who is very, very knowledgeable, who have done many hospitals. He will be able to guide you as to how the profit center should be structured and on what basis you should go forward.
Okay.
For 100-bedded hospital, what is the minimum size of the land you want, and how many floors you can go up in north?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Yeah, see now the building that I showed you in Dehiwala, it is 1.5 acres. It's one of the smallest sites, but we had this number of beds. I don't think any other hospital has that in a smaller site. So in terms of the height, it depends on the UDA zoning. But now UDA also has, UDA is the Urban Development Authority. They have relaxed it a bit, and there's a new kind of regulation for Jaffna. They are allowing a fair number of floors in the same way that one can do in Colombo. So there's no restriction now. You can do quite a high building. But what happens is now if you select a land closer to the airport, then the height comes down. Right. So I don't know which. In fact, I mentioned to Geetha a particular few lands that are available just next behind the present hospital. I mean, that is in the city center. That is in city center. There is no restriction there. You can have many number of floors there. But instead, if you go out, then the height can vary. So it all depends on the number of. That's why I said once you say land is selected, you need to do the PPC, preliminary planning clearance from the UDA. So once you apply for that, they will give all the planning issues, plot coverage, FARs, the heights, and so on, number of floors. All that will be given.
In that, Rukshan, UDA, what are the things they look for in granting permission for hospital like land selection?
No, they don't go into the hospital structure and so on. They have a zoning map. You know, in certain areas you can do, like in your country, certain areas you can't do factories, right? So in that way they say, okay, these zones are, you can do housing, you can do industrial, you can do these. Healthcare generally allowed in almost all the areas. So UDAs, it's the zoning that they will have. That's the only restriction from their side. They're not going to the feasibility of it or what facilities you will have and so on. But what happens is that in the location is important for your business model because the doctors should be able to come easily, as well as the patient should be able to come. No? If they have to travel quite a distance, then it might not be that might not work that way.
In this, you haven't included incinerator or how to.
No, in hospitals here in Sri Lanka, incinerators are not allowed because of the environmental issues. So you have a different way that I mentioned to you that there's a solid waste chamber. So the clinical waste, you have to have an agreement. There are one or two companies, an agreement with them to take them out. There's a particular system. Solid waste and garbage and so on, you get to have an agreement with the local authority to remove it. We don't have incinerators, it's not allowed.
Okay. And there is no drainage system as such in Jaffna as well. So,
yeah, so for that you need to do a sewer treatment plant. So these are standard sewer treatment plant. They'll need sewer treatment plant is anyway, even if you have the places where you have a drainage system, they need a sewer treatment plant to treat it up to a certain level before it is discharged to the main line. But since Jaffna doesn't have that, you need to have a proper sewer treatment plant, and then there's a discharge from that also. That also has to be looked into.
Okay, others, any questions? Geetha, let others to ask.
Yeah. Anybody? Subhashini, has Radhika gone? I think Kumaresan was there. I don't know, he's gone. Tangana.
Oh, fine, I'm fine. Only thing is, Puvi asked a question. Is the cost-wise, construction cost-wise going high is cheaper or only land-wise? Is the construction cost-wise is effective going high in a place like Sri Lanka, like Jaffna?
Well, Jaffna, Colombo, there is no difference. It's like this now. It depends on the foundation. So if you go for piling, it is worth your while to go up. On the same pile foundation, you go up so that you are saving on the piling. But what happens is, in terms of operations, your operational cost will go up the moment you have a number of floors because you need additional staffing. Staffing is very difficult here, because now a lot of people go overseas also. A lot of the staff, nursing staff and so on. So if you can have everything on one floor, so much the better, but you don't have the luxury of having large land. So you have to anyway have different floors. So it is, it is good if kind of a hot flow is done. Hot flow is, you have the surgical theaters, ICUs, cath lab, everything. If you can get into one flow, it's so much easier. Then you can share, your operational cost will come down drastically. But you don't have lands like that. So therefore, you need to consider the pros and cons of it. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. I mean, whether whether same is applicable to Jaffna or not, whether the location depends on the location as well.
Yeah.
I think Jaffna, they don't have a very high building so far. I can't see anything at the moment.
No, this hotel that.
Not Subhash, right? The other.
No, Subhash, not Subhash. That is
Jet wing.
is quite tall, and also next to that there is this cultural center that came up.
Cultural center, yes. That's a tall building. Yes, correct.
Now they are building some apartments in town center.
Yeah, they are building some apartments in town center.
Cargill's also there, actually.
Cargill's is not that tall, but I think that was about 4 stories.
Yeah, anyone else? Subhashini? Kumaresan? Oh, is it iPhone 125?
Can I ask a quick one? Thank you so much for your presentation. Is Kumaresan here? You have been doing this for a while. With your experience, why not another major company, major hospital in Colombo didn't move to Jaffna?
Actually, a lot of people are trying to see these companies that are working, like for the Hemas, if you take, they're very serious people. They do projects, they plan ahead and very, very serious when it comes to finance and so on. So Jaffna is one of the places where they want to go in, right? But they are also, just to once again take that example, it's a large conglomerate. They have so many other businesses. So they have seen that first they need to expand on the present ones they have, because they can't cope up with Talawatagoda. So they need to add more facilities there, rather than doing something outside. So they also are very we want to be careful with that rather than spending everywhere. They want to first consolidate. I think in the hospital business, what is important is expansion. If you do one hospital, that might not work unless you go ahead and expand it in different ways. You do a secondary, you go to the tertiary care and so on. But few projects I have also worked on, I think I told Geetha, in Jaffna. But it has not come about because they also need to do their thing in Colombo or in the outskirts of Colombo before they go and spend so much of money outside. So that may be the reason, but I think profitability wise or the feasibility wise, Jaffna is a fantastic place. I think there is their need, and as well as there is enough land available. Whereas in
at one point in time, you expect some of these big companies can also move.
They will move, and if they move, it's better for you also. Rather than what happens is the whole thing will improve. The whole entire healthcare system will improve. One of the things, I don't know whether there's any possibility of you bringing some surgeons from India for short-term basis.
The same topic. The other question is, can in Sri Lanka somebody from overseas able to practice, or do they have to take a license? Or is it something common in Colombo?
I don't know. I can ask my daughter. Can someone practice here in Colombo? No, they have to do ERP. Can someone overseas doctor practice in Colombo? Yeah, short term is possible, because what happens is like what's happening in the Lanka hospital. There are some Indian doctors. So the Lanka hospital is a BOI company. I think if you have a BOI company, which you'll probably do, They bring in heart surgeons, different types of surgeons to perform surgery, and doctors and so on a short-term basis, maybe 3 months or 6 months. So they do that, and then after that they have to go back. Not on a long term. I
Okay.
think if you want to get the license, you got to do what is called the ERPM at 16 and so on.
So that is happening basically.
It is happening on a short-term basis.
Okay, understand.
Is there any
And-
negligence procedures there? Negligence procedures in people coming to work in from abroad, or even local hospitals, private hospitals?
Yeah, negligence is a different thing. No, negligence is whether it's a private or government, you are liable for negligence.
Mm.
So some people take the insurance, but in professional negligence, insurance is not very popular in Sri Lanka, and not many companies are giving it. But I don't know where these doctors, whether they get it. But the thing is that legal matters have not gone well like in your countries. Here, in the sense, you see, I think I don't have to tell you, for a doctor to be held for negligence, another doctor has to give evidence. So I think I'm not going to talk much about it, but our doctors don't do that.
Mm. Do you see a limitation of doctors or maybe surgeons or consultants in Jaffna, for example, all the way they need to travel to from Colombo? Or is it something another hospital can accommodate that level of consultant and doctors?
Yeah, I think there are many consultants in Jaffna. There are many well-known consultants. Didn't Geetha mention some names?
And now they're like Professor Raviraj and other people. I mean,
They may be linked to some other already existing hospitals, right?
Puvi is the one who has to answer that.
I'm trying to understand, this will be a limitation, or was the limitation many other big companies or maybe a big hospital reluctant to move to Jaffna?
No, there are many doctors, but since they don't have, for instance, theatre time, they can't do anything. They only do it in the general hospital, maybe at the other one or two other medical centers, and after that they have to go somewhere else and practice. But if you give the service, if you give the facility, then there will be a lot of people, and if you come in first, I think there's a lot of potential there.
Okay.
Have the facility, we can employ, we could get some doctors down probably if we register as a BOI company or whatever from India, from abroad, even in Sri Lanka, even Colombo consultants, you pay the money, there is demand, doctors would come, won't they?
Yeah, in the Sri Lankan system, it's doctor-centered. No, the doctors go as a consultant.
Yeah.
The consultants go as only for channeling. Hospital has their own GPs. Now, my wife is a GP at the RCD hospital. So she's not a consultant, but she's a GP. So she goes there. She works. She's an employee of RCD. Works from 7 in the morning to 1 o'clock. So like that, there are places, I mean, you can have doctor, but very established consultants might not do that, and that the hospital might not be able to afford that. I think there is a lot of talk about this, that they want to change the systems and so on, but it has still not happened. So they go only on, for a consultation and then do the surgeries. They work throughout the night. Sometimes they do the surgeries and then they go, and the theatre time is shared between others.
So
And just one more final question before me. You mentioned about the building cost, and any rough idea about operating cost, roughly?
No,
So maintaining the building and keep it intact and on a regular basis,
the maintenance cost won't be that much, but our operating cost means I'm talking about staffing, I'm talking about electricity, water.
Leaving the staff, yeah, leaving the staff.
It's very difficult to say. I mean, to give you a figure, but that is something that is built into your costing of the hospital services.
Yeah, the feasibility study should consider that, right?
Yeah. So it's difficult to give you a figure, because now for this type of 100-bed hospital, your electricity will be something in the region of about 4 million rupees. Water bill will
Right.
be about another 2 million rupees.
Yeah.
Then the fuel and the pipe medical gases, all those things will be added on at different levels. So I don't know how much.
I understand. Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Do you advise a solar panel for this kind of electricity consumption?
We have to bring in solar, but we can entirely depend on solar because solar can give only up to a certain level. The balance we need to do with the normal from the mains we have to take, and we have to have our own generators. For hot water systems and so on, we use solar.
Radhika, with your sorry, Puvit, go on.
No, Radhika, I said, yeah.
Yeah, with a construction background, would you, because you could probably have some questions for the architect, Rukshan? You're muted, Radhika. She comes from a construction background, so she may have a few questions. We are waiting for Radhika. Subhashini, you got any questions?
Rukshan, and the last question I have, you know the geography of Jaffna Peninsula. What is the best place for this location wise?
For a hospital, the best place is the town center.
That is already very congested. Even Jaffna Hospital, they were planning to move to Ariale or somewhere some time ago. So we don't want to just.
See, there are two things. One is, the proximity for the doctors to come in, because doctors are coming from
That's right.
The feeder, that is this place, and also for the easy access for the patients. All those things can will work well if it is in the center. But I think I don't know whether Geetha has mentioned there are a few lands I know just behind the hospital. I mentioned to her there are plenty of lands available. If you were to do, and one of the best lands that I have seen for a hospital, so they are still available, I think.
Yeah, one of that you mentioned, somebody has bought, that IBC Bhaskaran has bought, and another one. But I mean, we can still go and look, definitely. I mentioned them to Puvi.
Yeah.
Who has bought them?
Come across any good land, Rukshan, suggest to us as well.
Yeah.
I think Victoria, behind the hospital is Victoria Road, where the Subhash Cafe and all that. It's very expensive, actually, very expensive. I have my family have a land there. It's very expensive. My sister has got a land there. So very, very expensive, actually.
Can you tell how far it can be? So it can be buy some land 20 kilometers away from the town, or it should be under 5 kilometers?
No, if you think that it could be away and it could still work, there is no issue. I mean, you don't have to do it within the land, within the main town center. But all what I'm saying is, if you take a land which is 10 kilometers away, it will take about 1 hour for the doctor to come in the evening. That might not be that attractive to him. Then you have to go back again. So since you are depending on surgeons and consultants coming into your property, it is, see what happens is this. I'll just tell you, in all our projects, all hospital developers, they treat the doctors as gods. They want all the facilities, everything to be given to the doctors, because for instance in Colombo, they have different options. They can go to this hospital, they can go to that hospital. There are 5-6 options available to them. So if a well-known doctor comes to your hospital, he will bring in about, say, 100 patients a day. And that will be an attraction to your surgeries, your radiology, pharmacy, laboratory, and so on. So they'll do anything to get those doctors in. They will provide the best of parking, because they come in not so small cars now. Then they are treated well. There are lounges done now in all our hospital. There is a lounge with the food is served 24/7. They can come in. They can first have their but they go hungry, I think. They go from one hospital to another hospital, and they are looked after very well. So, which you will also will have to do. So, you have to keep those into consideration. Of course, if you take the land in the main center, it's be expensive. That will happen. Yeah, that's true. But the thing that I have seen is not compared to Colombo, of course, not that expensive down on Victoria Road. But I'm sure there are other lands also available. But one of the things that I have seen in those lands are, at the back there's a canal.
Yeah, areola. Yeah.
Which is useful. No, it's a very small canal. It's about 4 feet. Now, I told you that you need the sewer treatment plant. Now, the sewer treatment plant has a output of water.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't have a canal of that nature, then you will have to take that water in a pipe to somewhere and then dump it, which is another cost that is coming to you. But if there's a canal of that nature near you, you can just discharge it into that. So there are different advantages in doing that, having it in a place like that.
Can you discharge it hospital from the hospital from normal canal?
Yeah, the sewer treatment plant, the Central Environmental Authority will give the standards. It is done to a BOD level, which is called 5. Now, actually, BOD 5 is, the moment it goes up to BOD level 3, it's drinkable water. So,
Oh, I see.
5 means it's very, 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 very highly treated water, which can be, you can just discharge it into a drain or a canal.
It
But they
doesn't
don't
smell.
allow you to discharge it into a drain, a road drain. One thing, the road drain systems are not very well functioning, and also there's a lot of water coming in, continuous water.
One more question here. Towards the Pannai, you are aware of the land Pannai, towards Pannai Bridge. That's where you can get fairly cheap land. The extension of the hospital road towards Kottari.
Well, I don't know much about Jaffna. I have only seen near the town center, maybe, if you can. But see, then again, now you saw the cost of this project, like 6.8 million, 6.9, I can't remember exact amount of pounds. How much 1 acre of land will cost in the center? I think somebody said that it's very costly. How much? What would be the cost of 1 acre or 1 perch?
To me, I think in the center, it's going around. It's about 1 perch going around 40 lakhs.
$40 lakhs. That's about 4 million, right?
4 million rupees, yeah.
Let me see. One second. So
And Anna Rukshan mentioned about a land close to the Subhash Hotel.
Yes.
That as well. But somebody said IBC Bhaskaran is supposed to have bought it. But we can check.
Yeah.
So that's about 640 million rupees, maybe about less than 2 million pounds.
Very expensive, yes. That's right. Geetha is that is a land. Subhash Cafe also for sale, and there is land also there. I think, but as I said, it's very expensive. It's very close to the Jaffna Hospital.
Just behind, yeah.
Just behind.
Yeah. Thank you. I think we have taken
Too much time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Rukshan. It has been really great to have a view straight from you, and you have shown us how advanced Colombo is and the medical system and hospitals in Sri Lanka. And did you say, before you go, did you say that Colombo hospitals are considering robotic assisted surgery?
Yeah, that's the reason why I am here. No?
Right. Which one? So they're going to kind of do it quite soon.
Yeah, they are going to do soon. That, I showed you one at the ward place.
Yeah.
Cardiac and neuro, this referral center.
Yes.
As well as the Hemas Hospital, the Athalathoda. Now, those are the places they want to they'll be first doing it. I don't know any other hospitals whether they have done it, whether they are doing it, but I'm involved in those two.
Are
What
they,
kind of robotic, sorry.
sorry, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
What kind of robotic assisted surgery are they considering to begin with?
Mainly thyroid and also prostate and urology. Those are the ones that they have in mind.
What is the main reason for that? Is it something cost saving, accuracy, or remote
Yeah.
doctors?
Many things. I think all those factors that you mentioned, and also it brings down the operational cost.
And the recovery is quicker as well.
Yeah.
Is it? I thought it would be more operational cost because the robotic machines, the technology, the technicians.
Capital cost is higher, maybe operational maybe less.
But operational cost will be less. And also the because it's a kind of non-invasive thing and patient can go home early. So they are not blocking their rooms.
Correct.
So that means we can reduce the number of surgeons.
Well, I don't know that. Of course, I think you have to ask a doctor how. But
Okay.
somebody said that there's a doctor in the US doing, or doctor in UK doing so many number of.
Yeah, 500 already done. Yeah. So
that means
training
doing more, right?
They need training, more supervisions and so on.
The patient tend to stay shorter in the hospital. In that case, robotic hospital. Yes.
Yes,
that's what we said. Yeah.
And also the recovery is quicker, so patients probably will choose if there is a choice, right?
Yeah, that's
because
right. It's a keyhole surgery anyway, no?
Yeah.
I want to ask one more question. Can you build a hospital with the facilities for the multi-purpose use? For example, the hospital, you can turn around to hotel or flats or that's sort of a multi-purpose idea or usage.
Well, you can, but what are you trying to achieve in that?
In the failing to in the future, any disaster, anything happen in the in the business.
Yeah, then I mean you have built a building which can be you change the party because all the internal partitions are partitions. No, we don't do walls except in the toilets. So these are what I call the dry walls. So those can be removed and you can change it any way you like. But in a hospital, see, you are bringing in the best of air conditioning and best of electricity, pipe medical gases and so on. So how they could be used in an apartment and so on, you may not need them. Their air conditioning system may be different slightly. But it can be done. It can be done.
Yeah. Thank you, Geetha and Rukshan.
Yeah. So is everybody happy? No more questions. So we can say thank you and really appreciate your time, Rukshan. So let's get, if you could give me put me in touch with maybe some financial feasibility and business feasibility whilst we are looking at the land. If we could do that. So before we invest or sign up any contracts, it's probably best to do those feasibility study, maybe enterprise risk after that, and then go into that because it's one of the biggest projects in Jaffna that's going to take place if we do go ahead with it.
Yeah. So once I go back, I'll talk to him and then I'll share your number with him and he'll contact. Thank you.
He will do financial feasibility, right?
He'll do financial feasibility. He's the CEO of he's an international, he has a lot of experience. He's a CEO of a few hospitals. Now he's doing this kind of promotional work and so on. So he's very knowledgeable, much more knowledgeable than I am when it come to the management and the operations. I mean, I can tell you anything about the building, but not much about the operations.
And is anybody
if we can arrange for a meeting like this, a Zoom meeting also, we much appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll do that.
And can anybody help us with like a business feasibility study before we do the business model, like what is good, whether I know the doctors could help, but somebody professional, is there somebody to do that as well?
So he will do that. He will
both.
Do that. Yeah, both. Yes.
Okay. Brilliant. Okay. Yeah. So I won't take much more time. You're on last day of your trip. So enjoy your evening. Thank you so much, Rukshan. We'll be in touch and we cannot thank you. Really appreciate your valuable knowledge sharing with us.
Thank you. Thank you. And
Thank
nice
you
to
very
meet
much,
you.
Rukshan.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All the
Thank you.
best to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a good